wide view of Laura. Then I'm going to take a couple minutes to start some watch parties so that I can get some people involved here that are on the scene just to make sure everybody's safe, everyone's on the same page. It's worrying about Kyle, who's there now. Kyle, Cutton, and Teakum are out on the scene, and so this is where the hurricane has been traveling so far. I've had an eye on it the whole time. Once it was over Cuba, I just knew there was a good chance it would become major in the Gulf, and major and then some. Now we're at Cat 4. This could very well become a Category 5. So the maximum sustained winds so far are 143 miles per hour, 0.85. Basically, that's telling me just about 5 miles away. That'd be 5 plus. So at 157 miles per hour is when we hit the Cat 5 threshold. So it's not really that far away. So that is scary news, and I'm going to dig into the forecast details about that. First, I'll just go ahead and take a minute to start some watch parties since I'm pretty new on the YouTube lives. I want to introduce this to some of the people that have been watching me on my Facebook. And with my current software right now, I just have not yet set it up to do the screen share where you're not going to see what I'm doing right now. I'll get that taken care of for future broadcasts, but as far as right now, you're going to see me messing around here starting some watch parties. So first, and since it's all new to me, I'm going to have to come back and get this here. I think there is a link somewhere. Here's the share. And so in about 5 minutes here, I'll dig a little deeper into the forecast. Go ahead, send comments if you have questions, if you have advice or any specific slides you want me to look at, details or forecasts that you think I should see for any reason, or if you want questions answered, go right ahead and do that. And just for a little bit of reference here too, this here, it is on the water south of New Orleans. So right here, normally 4 feet of four more feet is usually showing. So 4 feet of water already rose up here. This is about an hour ago, and about 100 miles from the center. So that's a big deal. Even Pensacola Beach, hundreds of miles away, is getting a flood surge right now. Trying new things. Yeah, so feel free to join in with questions, comments, bets, or I have some people that always want to talk crap. I kind of want to invite it, but you know, people get kind of serious about these things. You know, when there are lives on the line actually. So. You know, I go back and forth a lot with why I feel like I'm forecasting a certain way. But at the end of the day, I'm not always right. I just want to keep learning and getting better. I've spent a few years now forecasting hurricanes in the Gulf, and it's helped me really get better at the landfall. So I'm going to show you real quick. If you're not already following me on Facebook, Weather Woman on Facebook, it's facebook.com/theworldofweather. You'll find all of my forecasts, all my updates, information, storm reports from people on the scene, and I can keep you up to date here. So if you like and follow that, that will help. And also in the backdrop, I'm always putting the update for the forecast track. Now normally I'll go put a line through here. And this one I did pretty quick. It's just finally starting to oscillate northward as well as just the teeniest bit west still. So I'm still expecting what I put up last as the landfall being right here on the borderline. Now the other day, this is about 2 days ago, I posted that a Cat 2 at landfall is possible. That's still possible, but as we're going to dig into right now, unfortunately, the wind speeds and the factors that were playing into effect at the time that I thought maybe we'd have a Cat 2 landfall, they kind of push out of the way, leaving room for a Category 3 landfall still. And some people are saying 4 or 5, which really is not out of the question. I'm really more leaning toward the Cat 3. Now these models here specifically, the European model for wind speeds is normally very low, quite a bit lower than what's actual. So normally the sustained wind speeds are going to be what this model says the gust speeds are. So right now I went to model speed gust, and we're showing 121 miles per hour near the core. And yeah, that is what the National Weather Service was putting out, something a little bit higher even. So in all actuality, from our recon data from the hurricane hunters, it's actually coming in a little bit stronger than what the model's still digesting here on this end. But what we do know is verbatim this satellite imagery. So oh gosh, it's so crazy. That landfall right there. We are going to be seeing a landfall, but that wasn't it. That was a glitch. So, but the landfall is not going to be too far from there. What I'm going to do here is take a moment to dissect some of these feeder bands, because now Kyle is getting onto, well, Kyle's in this region where we're not seeing feeder bands so much anymore. This was probably the last feeder band. He's right around Lake Charles, and now he's getting to the internal core of the storm. So I'm going to try to pull him into this live. I'm not sure if he's going to be available right now with what's going on, but that was our intention. I'm going to switch real quick to the visible satellite. That infrared really dissects these little cloud tops to show where the more convective cells are. It can help decide where the tornadic activity can be. And this here shows me more about the eye wall. So it's an extremely defined eye wall showing, yes, Cat 5 is absolutely not out of the question for a landfall here, unfortunately. I'm going to go ahead with the wind gust and play this through just to kind of see what it's saying for the landfall real quick so we can all have a look at that. I've been for days dead set on this border line. And now the European's putting it right over Lake Charles. And then we're going to see a big clean swoop upward, kind of like we did in that wide shot at the beginning where I showed from Google Satellite. So this is going to crawl up, and I might as well just see when these wind speeds start to die down. So these are extremely strong winds. I figured Arkansas could see hurricane force winds still, especially with the gusts. These are gusts again. So that's going to knock down trees, knock down power lines, can fall on homes, and actually kill people. So do be careful, especially if you're going to be driving. One of the times you don't want to be driving during this stuff is when there are storms right in front of you, just before it starts raining. These sorts of storms, it's going to be on this end where my cursor is. The way that they're moving in, ahead of the rain, comes big, huge wind gusts. So when you feel that big moving around and you can see that there's some clouds out there, those are, embedded in there are going to be some of those gusts that could just pack that punch that just knocks things down right in front of you. Even if down the street, it's a very different story. So right along these edges is where you want to watch out for that. And then the difference in time between when that gust front strikes versus when the wind starts is anywhere from like 5 seconds to up to about a minute, and that all depends on little small specifics. So as far as feeder bands go, there are tornadic cells that are heading towards Shreveport, Alexandria. Now I had a friend in Ruston area, or Ruston. I still am not sure, I didn't look it up yet. But he's living around here with his wife, and I told him, yeah, you need to watch out for the radar. So coming up pretty soon here, he has a chance to be seeing some tornadic cells passing by. So I kind of want to tag him in that, actually. Let me see if I can get him. And then again, in the future, I won't be having to show you all this. I'll be able to layer things so I can loop a satellite while I'm in sharing things like this. So this will be at Justin, because he really wanted to know. But that's not the one. There we go. Okay, so I'll say possible tornadic cells heading your way in the coming hours. Take a peek or check your radar to be safe during the passing. And that's the right kind of peek. All right, well, once upon a time when I first started in news, I made that mistake on that. Oh, I published something for like 1 minute live. I felt so crazy. A mountain peak, I don't know. It was, you know, a new job. I was a little out of sorts. So besides that, there's Hamid right now. Hamid used to work with my husband. He was a translator for him while he was in Afghanistan. And now he is in Houston. So looking good for you still. Here's the latest in case he wants to join in or ask any questions. And then I think that's all that really, I should tell Kyle, my storm chaser, too. And I'll just get them in. Then I'll do a little bit of a deeper dive into the forecast here. And then I'll share one to his page so that his fans can all see this too, and friends and family. Sharing to a friend's timeline. Kyle. So hey, if you guys didn't know how to do this stuff, here's your how-to. It's all been such a learning curve. Alright, cool. So these are done, I guess. I know that she'll love it. And then so I have another friend who loves this stuff. Of course, it's not affecting him as bad, but these people are over in where I used to live near National Weather Service people. Maybe I'll get this one too, as I have a few friends that work in National Weather Services down there. And it'd be nice to have them weigh in. Of course, they're going to be so busy right now. But this way, maybe I can get a little bit more conversation going on. Looks like he, sometimes I can't tag people in here for some reason. So whatever the reason, I'll dig back into the forecast now after I just check the live stream, make sure there's no comments. Okay, so no questions here. And then back to forecasting. So I'm going to use this Wonderground map. The Weather Underground is a really nice site, in my opinion. Now we're going to be able to look right now at tornadoes. Where are the tornadoes? Those tornadic cells that I just mentioned, are they producing anything? Is what I'll be looking at here. Been having a funky time with this today. And I had it all set in the right place, but here, I'll just do this. Maybe everyone's trying to use it today. So here, what I like about this app is that it layers everything, and now we still don't get a good, clear view of the radar away from the stations, but now that it's close enough to land, we are seeing the eye. So yes, it's just beginning to get on to New Orleans here. All right, a little smaller. There we go. Things are moving too fast. So I'm going to play this through. Not my favorite site today for some reason. Not working the same. But now these feeder bands and tornadic cells, I'm going to layer on top of here after I let this loop for a moment to see where the bands are, because probably we could have some tornadoes coming out of here along with these cells here. And again, as this loops on to here, water spouts, water spouts. So seeing if there are any active, I can come over to the side here and look at the reports, storm reports. There we go. So yeah, one tornado warning out there now. National Weather Service in New Orleans has issued a tornado warning for northeast Feliciana Parish and southeastern Louisiana until 6:30 p.m. So there was a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located 7 miles northeast of Pride, 10 miles southeast of Clinton, moving northwest at 25 miles per hour. So this is a hazard for the flying debris, of course, any tornado, that's what you're worrying for. Now with these radar indicated, it means the upper levels were definitely spinning, but that the lower levels are not necessarily, it's not necessarily touching the ground. So at this point, this is when the chasers come in handy and we can get more storm reports and collect more data and get more accurate answers here. Otherwise, we're looking at the flooding going all the way up into Arkansas, as I had suspected. We can imagine that this storm is going to continue raining and raining, because I'll go back to the satellite here and show you just how much moisture is included with this system. There's a ton more up to the north. So where the storm is going, there's already been some rain too from Marco. When it gets up north and starts turning east, we're going to be seeing more and more rain on top of soaked areas. So I'll zoom out here a little more so you can see just how widespread this is. Now yesterday I told Kyle while he's out there storm chasing, this is going to be covering the entire Gulf by the time it makes landfall. And sure enough, here it is. So yeah, Cat 5 is not out of the question. Storm surge is going to be so strong, and it's starting now. It's been suspected up to 20 feet, and that's going to be anywhere east of the eye wall. It's been going on as far away as Pensacola, to the point of water going up over the roadways because it's so flat out there, which I could also show on Google Earth here. If I zoom in, I'm going to get real obvious here with why this is such a danger zone. It's such a sad situation for these people, and you know, I have a really good friend. Her family just left here today, Lake Charles. Most of them split up and left New Orleans after Katrina, I became good friends with this girl from Fort Walton Beach. That's where she relocated. But her family, some of them stayed in Lake Charles, and she said, you've got to get out. She said they're the kind that ride out the storm, and it just, she knew it wasn't the time. She's not a forecaster, but she might as well be one. I always tell her she's one of those amateurs that really knows what she's talking about, spends a lot of time asking questions and learning enough that she has a good idea about forecasting, even though she's never taken a class. So here we're seeing a little bit of topography, but this is really almost nothing. So there's a way I can change and see the sideways view, but I have, again, something's different with my mouse today. So you can't see it, but any of this dark region here is much lower. There's some trees out this way, but it's still like almost no elevation. So when 20 feet of storm surge comes on land here, this is not even 20 feet high, not 20 feet high still, so it's just going to keep inundating, you know, almost halfway up the state, up these little waterways. Unfortunately, you know, hearing about how Lake Charles is and zooming in on that area, it looks like a lot of homes could literally just be underwater here pretty soon. So then, and soon is very soon. Timing-wise, let's look at the last hour. 1 hour. This storm has moved from eye centered there to an eye centered here. So a slow crawl. I'm going to go over to water vapor next to show you, but the motion of the storm, I don't believe it's going to change much. So that's just 1 hour, you know, another hour, 2 more hours, 3 more hours, 4 more hours, 5. Now, around 5 hours from now, we're going to be seeing a landfall. So here it's 1:30. We're going to add 5 for you guys, 6:30 plus, oh, wow. So all along, I was suspecting that this would be making landfall about now. It did slow down a little bit. That's a time frame I made up 2.5 days ago. So it looks like I'm doing all right, in my opinion, that, you know, he is in the right place, and he is definitely where the landfall is going to be. So the next thing is we've touched the base, made sure that he has a lot of safe zones and a lot of outs, so that while he's there working, it's not a hazard to him or anybody else. So water vapor is what I want to look at next, because it's going to have to do with the overall steering coming up here. You know, it seemed for a while like things were just going west, 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 but this was an upper level factor that was helping this push start going north so that it could push east later. So upper level water vapor, very, very wet and moist air. Where it's green, that's going to be rain. Where it's white, we're going to have clouds, maybe not actually falling rain though. And where it is yellow and blue, it's very dry. Very dry yellow, blue is dry. So all of the yellow really went down, and in fact we see that some is turning into, so what happens when this dry air comes into the moist regions, it starts to evaporate. Then there's other, you know, with this big force, there's going to be different variables going on there, and it looks like here it's actually instigating more firing up this, probably the differential of the air masses, different densities, and then the strength of lore with all the moisture here. It's just, and then probably the time of day too, you know, we have diurnal heating here, there's no cloud cover here, so that's also going to help produce more clouds in that area. You see them really bubbling up. So far from the storm, we're seeing detrimental effects, deadly effects all the way around up in here into what's going to soon be the Georgia-Tennessee border, even as some of these gust fronts with some of the damaging winds go through. And it just takes one bad gust to knock down a tree on top of a mobile home and, you know, have a heart-wrenching story come out of it. So this is where we need to all be all hands on deck. And if you have family and friends around here, go ahead and share this stuff. Make sure that they're at least ready, looking at their radar. And one of my next videos I'm going to be making is how to read your radar so that you can understand what's going on. And so just to kind of get an idea of where people are at with that kind of stuff, I want to maybe kind of jump into that a little bit, and then at least later on I can show this video to a few friends and see how this helps them or not, because it can always be interesting in trying to communicate, you know, scientific information that I learned in school to somebody who hasn't learned it in the terms I was forced to use. So, you know, communication-wise, I want to make sure that how I'm telling you to read this is helpful. And now eventually I'll be doing this on a green screen to make it a little easier. But what I do here is we saw the moisture already. We saw that there's plenty of moisture feeding into here. and it bubbled up fast. So we know there from watching a loop on satellite and seeing that the clouds are just popping up very fast, that this is going to be more explosive as time goes on in that trend. And you'll notice little different things, like when the sun goes down, it might start to change a little bit, but for the time being, it's popping up and will keep on popping up. So this is near Fort Worth, Dallas area, very populated region. Probably a lot of the evacuees went to this area. So now they're getting one of the stronger bands about to pass over, what I would want to assume in the next hour. So if I can get to the toggle here for the timeline, I'll be able to really dissect the time length before it gets there and see if I can help you learn that. If only I could use Weather Underground today. It's just not showing me. Maybe I need to hit escape. Hello. I can go to Windy. It's been my new go-to. I just wanted to go check that one out again for nostalgic purposes. So here we go then. This has been working much better for me. Windy.com has apps also. So reading radar. I'll go back to the radar. It's not my favorite for radar, this one. But we can see then with those ones that were bubbling up here, they are very strong. You can tell with a lot of lightning and a lot of red that these are going to be stronger. More heavy gust fronts, more likely for the tornadoes and more likely for the damaging winds. So these red ones are what you would want to watch out for. Now, if I were in Dallas, let's say, I would want to know if I needed to drive somewhere, when should I go? Or maybe you are a storm chaser like me and you want to go hide out somewhere and catch a view of it or enjoy it under an overpass and just be out in that environment, but maybe not get struck by lightning, you know, standing on something with rubber between you, or just not touching water directly to your shoes or to your skin during that moment would be the smartest thing to do. But if I were there in Dallas, I'd be thinking maybe in the next few hours. One thing I like to do and do this, back it up longer, so I'll look at the last 6 hours here, and it gives me a better idea. We saw that those things were just bubbling up, and they're moving very quick. So in Dallas, at this rate, I would say that if this is 4 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 1 hour ago, another hour, hour and a half, it's going to be raining heavily in Dallas. Possibility for a few little severe storm reports coming out of there even. So just be careful here. And if you're in Dallas, again, share this with your friends, tell them what's going on, tell them to keep an eye on the radar if they are there or need to drive to and from work or something around this time of day. That sometimes when these storms are passing, it's good to just either go early or leave a little later. And then when they're really damaging, I like to go to someone and say, hey, if you need to ask a boss or whatever, can I go home a little early? Like when I was going to school over here in Mobile and living in Florida, sometimes storms would be passing and I'd see these bands coming up over, and I knew, like, I've got to just go an hour early today so that on my way home I don't find out that there's a tree down in the road and I'm stuck there for 2 hours. So that's something you can think about too as a commuter. And then now Mississippi here is having a huge, massive collection of storms too. Going to be passing just west of Grenada. So that's also heading up to Little Rock. So in the next few hours, Little Rock is going to get hit. Right now they're getting that little washout, a little taste of what's to come, even stronger. New Orleans is going to get a big band of storms again. Now this one's going to be coming in a little bit different winds, but also capable of producing tornadoes. And then it looks like, yeah, Shreveport just north of Dallas is yet another one. And then the very far away ones where I was saying even a few days ago that today we would be seeing tornadic cells as far away as Georgia, it is possible. Not necessarily right now. I wouldn't say looking at these cells that they look especially capable of producing tornadoes at this point, but a little bit later as these things get closer and some more storms pop up, not going this direction, but going up to the north, then I believe Georgia could be also seeing some of those tornadoes right now. So as far as reading radar goes, one of my simplest things I do is I put the cursor where it is, where the storm's starting. I'll say here, I saw this one cell start there, and I sort of follow it to the end. So at 6 hours, I saw it went there. It was at Lake Charles, 6 hours here. So if I want to know where something's going, another 6 hours, I would, kind of go about the same length, but of course it's going to drift here. So this same storm cluster right here in 6 hours, I would estimate is going to be here. Of course, it's going to be shaped a little different, moving different, but that same energy and that same moisture conglomeration is going to be with a similar speed, I believe, still. And then sometimes speeds slow up or speed up more. So there's things to look at for that. And in this case, I'm thinking about the water vapor. So again, that water vapor at the upper levels that was going to end up pushing the storm to the east as it is now going north. And I'll go ahead to some different levels here in the water vapor. I want to look at the mid-level too, just to kind of fine-tune a landfall forecast and make sure nothing else is different. Good news here that we do see a lot more dry air at the mid-level. Wow, it almost looks like another circulation here. Things pop up in form all the time. So landfall-wise at this level, I don't see any reason again to change it. So as far as landfall goes, this is what I was expecting for days, and I just was crossing my fingers that some of this dry air here, the yellow, would have maybe stayed put along the Texas and Gulf coastline instead of pushing up out of the way. But there were some signs that it was going to push up out of the way that I saw ahead of time, and unfortunately had to change my forecast yesterday to what I thought was probably a Cat 2 landfall to this could very well be a Cat 4 landfall, easy. So I'm worried for everybody, but very happy there's so many people evacuating. So things are going good there. I'll see if anyone has questions. And doesn't look like it. Maybe on my Facebook one where I talked to a few more people. I can always call back Kyle too here, because he might have some questions as he is the storm chaser. Plus we can see where he is live right now. And I wonder if you're seeing two of me now. Sorry. So I'll go ahead, see if I can get him in here. Yeah, it is two of me. So maybe I can just move this box. Not let me. Hey, you are live. Can I hear you? Oh, here, yeah. I unplugged my, I had a mic today to get rid of the humming, so I unplugged it. I can hear you now. You're live on my Facebook. I don't know if you heard me, and YouTube.
Your live's going. Her live's going.
Yeah, so just like, don't be like how you normally are. Yeah, I didn't invite a ton of people, but there's probably a few people watching on my Facebook, and I just wanted to catch up with you.
No, I know, I'm just telling you. Okay, so tell me when you're going to go on there.
I am. You can show me outside real quick, and then just tell me what's up, because I was going to answer some questions for you.
So we are, let's switch charges here. We are coming back from Beaumont into St. Charles, or into Lake Charles, and that's the outer band. You're staring at the, we're charging back at it. So you're seeing, I mean, it's really not a lot to show you, to be honest. It's pretty, and then we didn't clean our windshield, so I apologize. Is that a spot better?
It'll get clean.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Mama Nature, it'll get you.
There's really not a lot to show you right now, but it's, I mean, as you see on radar, it's coming in. So it'll be pleased to see here. What are you thinking? Landfall, I know.
Oof. So well. Same location, right on the border, and then I'll switch screens here back to, so, people aren't looking at you. But I just did, like, the coverage on the radar. So right now, yeah, that last outer band just passed you a few hours ago. What you're seeing now isn't necessarily an outer band so much. It's actually the big portion of the storm moving on. And I'm going to put my cursor over where he is now. Are you still near Beaumont, or closer to Lake Charles?
We are, how far up from miles? Yeah, Lake Charles. 21 miles. 20 miles.
Okay, good. And so then, yeah, just make sure you get to a safe zone in the next few hours, I think, so that you can choose something before strong winds. I mean, really, like next 1 hour, yeah? What are your plans for that?
We found a 4-story parking structure, block off the lake. We found another structure on the other side. We thought about getting a room and a hotel, but that got quickly nixed once this is looking to go F5.
F5. You're a tornado man.
Yeah, I know. F5. I'm sorry, Cat 5. I'm off my rocker today.
You haven't slept much.
I know. This is the hundreds. I know. She just said that too.
It's cool.
Amy, I have been off my game today. I apologize to you and everybody at home, but we'll get this together as soon as Landfall gets here. So
no, thanks for the footage. You know, it's nice to have your eyes on the scene there. There's been a couple little maybe twisters. Again, they weren't confirmed on the ground. So there's one more band passing New Orleans that might have some, but it's not a big tornado outbreak. There's just maybe little chances. So,
you know, we chased 3 tornado-warned storms today, and they all were just ghost storms. They just did not materialize. They didn't do anything. They were short-lived.
Yeah, with it being in Marco's wake, I feel like that has something to do with it.
Yes.
So
yes.
cool.
So
then I think you're all good. I'm excited for you, and then you're going to have some clear skies for a little bit. I'm sure you're keeping your eye on the radar too, right? So you know you're good and safe to get into your spot. And yeah, I hope
it looks like
I hope you can get the eye wall.
Yeah, we're shooting. You know, are you thinking that eye wall is going to be 11 o'clock to 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. landfall?
Yeah, I just did a thing. Just looked at the timing, and yeah, it's more like 6 hours, so it's definitely a little later than what I had been saying a couple days ago. But pretty on track with what they were saying a few days ago, like as far as the National Hurricane Center. So yeah, like that nighttime. I put it at 6-7 hours from now at the start of landfall. That puts you at what? I think I told
3 in the morning.
Okay.
Morning.
Okay, I think that.
So we could be doing a sunrise hurricane eye wall potential here.
Yeah, and then I'll do one more really close to make sure there's nothing speeding up, slowing down that I know of. That might, yeah, it might slow down for a moment and then speed up again as it starts to turn.
I know you just did this, and we apologize. We had to go take care of some logistical stuff pre-storm, pre-hurricane. Excuse me. What was the last indication on storm surge?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised for those wild 20-foot surges. Now, my friend who is south of New Orleans, 4 hours ago had a 4-foot surge.
Okay.
And my friends in Pensacola had about a 1 to 2 foot surge with surfable waves this morning. So that's like 6 hours ago. Now, landfall's coming a little sooner than what I just said to you. Whatever I did earlier, never mind. It was something for a reading radar thing. Let me reevaluate what I said.
Okay.
I didn't mind doing this because I actually hadn't done it again yet, actually. I called you right in the middle of things.
Okay. Did you figure out how to go live on my channel?
I have not. No, I need to have you approve it. You'll have to accept it, send me a verification code. I'll enter it, and then we can do things on your page too. So that's 6. Okay. Wow, maybe just a few hours away. Never mind. A few hours as it starts to make a landfall.
Okay. So you're saying the leading edge will hit here about 3 hours, and then
3-4
after that. 3-4. Okay, so that puts us at midnight-ish, and then you're saying the eye wall 3-4 a.m.-ish. 3 hours after that, you think?
3 to 4. 3 to 4 hours it'll start, yeah. I think it'll start creeping up onto Lake Charles. 3 to 4 hours. Then longevity, 1, 2, 3. You're going to want to hang tight for a good 4 to 6 hours when you're in there for sure. No. Susan Rayborn, I'm enjoying this. Oh, good. This is a good weather lover. Thanks for the weather love. So
are we still live on your
I am. Yeah, I didn't want to.
Okay.
So I've been actually commenting back and forth on this. This is more my longer drawn out one anyway. So I'll let you go whenever you need. If you need, otherwise, if you have another question.
No, you're fine. I didn't want to interrupt the fans or any questions they had, or if they had any questions for me while I'm out here. Besides, be safe. I've gotten 100 of those messages an hour, and I appreciate all of them. I definitely don't want to sound disingenuous. Just things are at a. It's not to the way things go in these. It's just it's really sad. We're watching Fort Ranchers rushing up and down this highway as fast as they can. We're seeing people in absolute desperation pulled over. We're seeing people at gas stations in dire need. We're seeing a across the board, there's an element in this, and I'm an extreme weather enthusiast. I didn't, truly understand being in Tornado Alley, what it meant fully. I've seen it on the news, I've seen it before, but you don't know anything like you know until you're in person, and boy, howdy, it is something else to see here. So that's pretty much my take on that, and I know it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, and I'm here till the end. So.
Well, thanks for being there. Yeah, I'm showing some of your clips from what you showed yesterday